Hey guys, welcome back to the VHS Revolution show and part 2 of my countdown of my 100 favorite movies of the 21st century. '79 is Shane Black's The Nice Guys from 2016. It stars Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in an amazing, funny, action, comedy, detective, mystery movie. It's the kind of movie that people always say that they want more of, and yet when it came out, it didn't do well, which is really unfortunate because this really could have been a long-running franchise of multiple movies. Crowe and Gosling are so great together. It's got Shane Black's brilliant ear for dialogue and character and mystery, and everything wraps up in a really, really satisfying way, and the whole thing is just a blast. '78 is David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo from 2011. When I first saw it, I thought it was just okay. Didn't really do much for me, but it's really grown on me over the years, and that's especially due to Rooney Mara's amazing performance and Daniel Craig. But Fincher just does his Fincher thing, which pretty much always gets me. I loved following these characters around, and I really wish the movie was a bigger hit so Fincher could have made the other two movies. Alas, we only have this one, but I'll take what I can get. At '77 is a almost completely different kind of movie. It's Paul Feig's Spy, which is utterly hilarious and I never get sick of. It's Melissa McCarthy's best role by far. Rose Byrne is hilarious. Jude Law, Jason Statham has never been funnier. It's just got a great cast and the laughs never stop. Paul Feig is kind of a hack when it comes to directing action, but that's okay. I let it go because the movie is so funny. You know, what can you say? If a movie makes you laugh, then you gotta go with it. And Spy makes me laugh from beginning to end. '76 is Bennett Miller's Moneyball, starring Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. Brad Pitt plays the owner of the Oakland A's, and he and Jonah Hill implement this new system that really goes against the grain of what all the managers, especially Philip Seymour Hoffman, is used to. It's kind of another one of those movies that really should have been boring, but screenwriters Steven Zaillian and Aaron Sorkin really find a way to humanize the story and make us care not just about Brad Pitt and whether his baseball team wins or loses, but also the relationship between him and Jonah Hill. And watching it all unfold is really inspiring and compelling. At '75 is Nicholas Winding Refn's Drive from 2011 and starring Ryan Gosling. Gosling stars as a stunt driver who moonlights as a getaway driver for bank robbers. He finds himself falling in love with the woman, Carey Mulligan, who lives down the hall, and her husband, Oscar Isaac, is just getting out of prison and owes some people money, and they're coming after him, and Gosling's trying to protect them. It's a really cool movie with a great soundtrack and amazing cinematography. Albert Brooks and Bryan Cranston are also in it. It's just a badass, cool movie. '74 is Paul Greengrass's Captain Phillips, starring Tom Hanks in what should have been an Oscar-nominated role. He is amazing in it, especially in that last scene. He plays the captain of a ship that gets taken over by Somali pirates, one played by Barkhad Abdi in his acting debut. It's just a harrowing, super intense drama that really never lets up. And it's a beautiful match of subject and Paul Greengrass's visual style. It's not shaky cam. He's really doing something very specific and purposeful. And as I said, Tom Hanks is brilliant in the role. At '73 is Edgar Wright's Baby Driver from 2017. An absolute blast of a movie starring Ansel Elgort, Lily James, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm, Isa Gonzalez, John Bernthal, and Kevin Spacey. It's another movie that's just an absolute miracle that absolutely could have gone wrong in many ways, but goes right in just about every way. I think it goes on a little too long, and John Hamm kind of becomes the Terminator at the end of the movie, but it's consistently inventive and fun and funny, has a great soundtrack. The editing is amazing. It takes these things we've seen before, bank robberies and car chases and action sequences, and does something really fun and creative with them. At '72 is Spotlight from Tom McCarthy, the Best Picture winner from 2015, about the Boston Globe's team of journalists investigating the allegations of abuse in the Catholic Church. And to me, it's a movie kind of in the same vein as All the President's Men, a movie about journalists interviewing people, knocking on doors, chasing red herrings, all in pursuit of something bigger than them. And is it a heavy subject? Yes, absolutely. It is, and it's a great movie. At '71 is Waves, written and directed by Trey Edward Schultz. A really tough, emotional drama with a great performance by Sterling K. Brown. It's a movie that kind of starts going one way and then goes in a different direction. The cinematography is beautiful. The performances are very natural. And it's just a great film that opened in 2019 and kind of was under the radar, but I managed to see it and it really left an impression on me. At 70 is Prisoners, directed by Denis Villeneuve, starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Terrence Howard, Maria Bello, Viola Davis, and Paul Dano. It's a really intense, tough drama about two girls who go missing and the search for them. It features amazing scenes, great performances. I think Jake Gyllenhaal gives one of his best performances. And it really signaled the arrival of Denis Villeneuve as a major director in Hollywood. It's a really heavy movie at times, kind of hard to watch, but I love the way the story unfolds and the mystery of who took these girls and why. Though there's a resolution at the end, the film doesn't quite resolve in the way that we are expecting, and that's, I think, what puts it over the top and makes it truly great. At 69 is Steve Jobs, directed by Danny Boyle, written by Aaron Sorkin, and starring Michael Fassbender as Jobs, Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, Catherine Waterston, and Jeff Daniels. And it's a movie told in a very interesting structure where every act is a different moment in time as Steve is unveiling a different product. And it shows him at these different stages in his life and how these relationships develop over time. It's a movie that got a lot of attention at the time and was not a box office success, unfortunately. And I think it's one of Sorkin's best scripts. I get people who don't like the movie. They think the structure is weird or they just don't find Steve very likable or interesting. I love it. 68 is Zero Dark 30, directed by Catherine Bigelow. And it stars an absolutely amazing Jessica Chastain in the story of the hunt for Osama bin Laden. Bigelow was coming off her Oscar wins for The Hurt Locker. And to me, even though it's a really tough movie to watch at times, there's a lot of uncomfortable scenes involving torture. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant drama and really beautifully made. Bigelow has this way of kind of showing the matter-of-factness of life, but bringing drama to it. And, you know, when it comes to movies based on true stories, I actually don't care if everything is true or if everything happened in the exact same way it's shown in the movie. What I care is, do I care about what's happening in the movie? And in Zero Dark 30, I really care. At 67 is The Fighter, directed by David O. Russell, about boxer Mickey Ward, and stars Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale, Amy Adams, and Melissa Leo. And it's an absolute knockout, no pun intended. A great drama about this boxer who's down and out, and the shitty family dynamics around him. Everything's trying to keep him down, but he keeps pushing back. And as far as sports movies go, it's actually one of my favorites. I think Mark Wahlberg turns in one of his best performances. He was the only actor from the cast not nominated for an Oscar, which is really annoying. Director David O. Russell sometimes goes a little too far with the manic craziness in his filmmaking, but in The Fighter, he was really in the zone. All the performances are stellar. The dynamics between the family and also the kind of inspiring sports movie ending all work. Everything comes together beautifully, and it's a great movie. At 66 is the documentary Dogtown and Z-Boys from 2001. It's the story of the Z-Boys, these surfers turned skaters who revolutionized the world of skateboarding. When I saw this movie back in 2001, before I became an editor, it absolutely blew my mind. The editing, the music, the whole way the movie is presented, using an amazing amount of archival footage and photographs, as well as interviews with the Z-Boys themselves. They made a fictional movie based on the documentary called Lords of Dogtown, and I still haven't seen that movie. Because why? I've seen the documentary. The documentary is incredible. I highly recommend it. You should check it out. At 65 is Moonlight, Barry Jenkins' Oscar-winning drama about a boy growing up and becoming a man. It features an Oscar-winning, incredible performance by Mahershala Ali. It's also a really tough drama. Barry Jenkins won the Oscar for screenplay, as well as Best Picture, in a very memorable upset win over La La Land. Moonlight isn't a movie I can watch anytime, but it's a movie that I really do like going back to and revisiting every once in a while. It's a very beautiful movie. At 64 is another beautiful movie. It's Doug Liman's Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. Beautiful because it's an absolute miracle that this movie works. It totally shouldn't have worked. It's like a sci-fi action Groundhog Day. Doug Liman is kind of an unpredictable director. Some of his movies really work, and some of his movies don't at all, and this one really does. The plot comes together perfectly, the action is great, and Tom Cruise gives a funny performance as kind of a loser, but he's also an action hero. And I love Emily Blunt in this movie. It's maybe my favorite performance of hers. It's just a really, really cool movie and one of the best non-franchise movies that Tom Cruise has made in the last few years. At 63 is The Incredibles, directed by Brad Bird, a Disney Pixar movie from the time where they were just shooting out hits one after the other. It's an absolute blast, an amazing, incredible movie that's kind of family comedy / like James Bond espionage action movie. The animation is so fun and creative. And the action really is some of the best action in any movie, live action or animated. Incredibles 2 was just okay, but it's that first movie that's really special. 62 is the racing drama Ford versus Ferrari, directed by James Mangold and starring the powerhouse duo of Matt Damon and Christian Bale. And it's another racing drama like F1 that manages to balance really exciting racing action with the human drama and relationships. And as someone who doesn't follow racing, I actually didn't know this story and I didn't know how it was going to end. I don't love the very, very ending, but I love 99.9% of the movie. I think it's a great, great movie. At 61 is Argo, directed by Ben Affleck, the Best Picture winner from 2012. It was kind of controversial at the time of the Oscars because Affleck was not nominated for Best Director, which he totally should have been. I think it's just a great movie, a great drama, and it's the story of CIA operative Tony Mendez and his attempts to rescue 6 U.S. diplomats from Tehran under the guise of filming a science fiction film. It's one part Hollywood comedy and another part intense political thriller. Both parts work really well together. I think Affleck can be really underrated as an actor. He gives a really solid performance in this movie. And as a director, this is one of his best efforts. Not his best, which you'll see later, but just a really fabulous example of a great Hollywood movie. At 60 is Widows, directed by Steve McQueen. The story of 4 women whose husbands died in a bank robbery, and they decide that they're going to finish the job and pull off one last heist. It's kind of a twisty thriller drama with great performances from Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki, Cynthia Erivo, Liam Neeson, Colin Farrell, Robert Duvall. It's got a great, great cast. It's a movie that kind of flew a little under the radar when it was released, but I loved it, and it's a movie I love going back to. Okay, that's it for part 2 of my 100 favorite movies of the 21st century. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen part 1, please check it out, and I'll see you next time for part 3.